Snowblower season. I'm up here in Maine, and we got our first dusting the other day. Probably 2 inches. Only stuck on the ground for an hour. But everybody's scared, so snowblowers are coming in. Doing this video on doing the auger and traction belt on this Toro powermax snowblower. The procedure is pretty much the same for all of the powermax snowblowers. It doesn't matter bucket size or engine power. And the procedure is very similar for the power shift, but I'll be making a separate video on doing those too. First thing you do, 2 1/2-inch bolts. Take out the belt guide. There's a lock washer and a flat washer on those bolts, so be careful not to lose them. 5/8 socket takes off the crank bolt. If you don't have an impact, these can be kind of a pain in the ass. The auger belt just slips off the pulley. Pull the inner sheave out. Traction belt just comes off the pulley, and then you got to pull it past the friction disc, but that plate moves, so it just give it a little pressure and it'll come off. And then to put it back on is the reverse. You just put your fingers in there and move it past the friction plate, and then just loop it around the pulley. I know you can't see me doing it in the camera because I'm wearing glasses to make these videos, and for situations like this they kind of suck. I allow the idler arm to hold the traction belt in place, and then to do the auger belt, these are 2 1/2-inch bolts on the side of the body. The 2 that are to the left of the 3 that are in a row that hold the bucket on. And what these hold in place is the bracket that the idler arm for the auger is attached to, and it also holds the brake that goes against the pulley. And that's what you want to remove, is the brake, because it's really difficult to get the belt past the brake and onto the pulley because there isn't enough room. So I just remove it all together. If you can see it, there's a bar right directly in front of my hand to the left of the idler mechanism. You want to make note of where the end of that bar rests in the bracket. There's a little hole in the side of the bracket, and when you put it back together, you need that bar back in that hole, or else the mechanism won't work. But it just comes right out like that. Work the belt around those 2 bolts that are in the way, but it'll come right out. Checking the auger bearing for play right there. If there's any play horizontally or vertically, it needs to be changed. I'll make a video the next time I do one, because you do have to separate the bucket from the body of the snowblower. Just want to loop the belt back over it. Put the inner sheave back on. I'm pulling the tensioner away from the belt because you don't want to pinch the belt in between the sheave and the last part of the crankshaft. This piece is called the outer sheave. There's little notches on it that you want to make sure are in the actual slots, because if you torque it down and they're not in the slots they're supposed to be, you'll crack that in half and you'll have to replace it. Just get the belt up into the pulley, slide it over the upper pulley on the crank, and here comes the fun part, putting this bracket back in. You're going to see that I do fumble with it. I've done a pile of these. I do probably, I don't know, I'd say 10 a week, and every time. So it'll take you a minute, but you'll get it in there, and just be patient. Sometimes I get it first try, sometimes it fights me like this. It is what it is. As you can see, that wrench that's on the tire, that's a specially made custom wrench that I use on snowblowers. It's my snowblower wrench, so I can get down into places quite easily. Basically, I just welded 2 half-inch wrenches end over end on together. One side ratchets and one side's firm to crack loose. Works really good. My boss gives me shit about it, but whatever. I think it works perfect. In jest, he's not serious. Alright, just lining the holes up to put these 2 bolts back in. This part can be kind of aggravating sometimes, but sometimes it goes really smooth. This top one went in pretty easy, and then you just pivot the bottom hole back and forth till you can get the screw to thread in without cross threading. Like and subscribe. Everything from here on out is pretty much just the reverse of disassembly. These videos are real fun. If you have any suggestions, please let me know.